Hello everyone and welcome back to another video, and in this video I'm going to be showing you the Lenovo ThinkPad X395 laptop. Now this is a brilliant laptop for somebody looking for a decent laptop without having to spend £1 billion on something brand new. I got a very good deal on this laptop of £110 and they normally go for around 150 to 200, so 110 was a very good price. This specific model has a Ryzen 5 3rd generation, 16 gigs of RAM and a 256 gig SSD. My one didn't come with a charger, but I will show you later on how it charges. It's relatively inexpensive to get a charger for one of these laptops. But as you can see, very clean looking design. I'm not sure if you can get them in different colours, but this one is obviously black. On the top cover you've got your ThinkPad logo and it's just very plain. On the sides we've got a USB-C port, another USB-C port, a proprietary Ethernet connector, a USB 2 port I think, or it might be USB 3 actually, a HDMI and a headphones jack. We've also got another USB here and a fan grill, and also an optional sort of, I think, smart card reader that I don't have. There's a Kensington lock as well if you care about that. So as for the inside of the laptop, it looks like so. Get a full QWERTY keyboard minus the numpad, a touchpad and a track point. There's also the Ryzen 5 sticker in the bottom left. Now this Pro thing underneath the logo doesn't really mean a whole lot. I'm pretty sure it's something to do with managing it in businesses, so it doesn't really mean much to me. Now in my case, mine's in quite a good shape for the money I paid. You can see it doesn't look to be damaged at all with the flash on. Yeah, it's definitely there, but it's not too bad for £110. It's kind of just to be expected of the used laptop. Other than that, mine is in a very decent shape. My one has a backlit keyboard. I'm not sure if there's a non-backlit version or not, but in my case, I actually got the backlit one, which is awesome. One of the standout features to me is the 1080p touchscreen. This is pretty impressive at this price point, since most brand new laptops, you're lucky to even get a Celeron and a 720p screen. So I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. I will show you how it performs. So just loading into Windows 11 here. Honestly, I do really like this laptop. It's my best one I've had so far. But taking a look at that screen, and even just through the camera, you probably can tell. Just taking a look at the screen, even through the camera, you can probably tell how sharp it looks. Even just looking at the icons on the top bar, it does look incredibly sharp. Here's Windows Spotlight. Again, very nice looking on this display. Since the screen's kind of small, if I set it to 100% scale, it will look kind of odd. Things are very tiny and a bit hard to reach. If you don't mind having things a bit smaller and fitting more on the screen, then, you know, maybe set it to 100%, but for me, I have it on 125. This is a good balance. 150 is what it defaults to. I just find this to be a little bit too restrictive. It kind of just feels like I'm navigating on a massive TV, so I'm just going to stick to 125. And yep, as you saw, the touchscreen is very responsive and it works amazingly. Now this specific laptop is not a 2-in-1, it doesn't come with a stylus, it doesn't bend backwards. It's just a standard laptop with an interactive display. But, you know, it is there and it's quite a nice little feature. So a little bit of history on this laptop. You may remember my X250 video. Fantastic laptop, but there was an issue with it where the eBay seller had improperly left the cable for the screen positioned here, and when I went to repair it, it ripped and just stuffed everything up. I don't know how it happened, but a bunch of stuff on the laptop just started playing up. I don't even think the screen worked at all. I think it fried the display. It was not exactly a very, you know, economical move to repair the thing, so I just didn't bother and got rid of it. After that, I got this silver HP laptop. I don't think I made a video about it, but it was an i3 11th gen. It was actually quite a good laptop. It's probably similar performance to this one, but I just don't like HP laptops. I don't know, I just find the hinges on them happen to break all the time and they're always built like crap. This laptop actually has really nice sort of silver hinges that are made proper like quality, you know? It doesn't feel like it's gonna snap. I was kind of concerned with the HP that at any point it could just go and break. Here's the backlit keyboard. It looks really good. If you haven't had a ThinkPad before, you do actually have a weird positioning of the function and control buttons. You may or may not have already realised that. For me, I don't like this at all. Considering my main PC has them normally, it was kind of weird for me to use them in a weird position. If you're the same as me, you can actually just switch this around in the BIOS, which I'll show you in a minute. But yeah, now my control key is my function key, so rather than doing function space to turn on backlight, it's control space. Kind of odd to look at on the keyboard, but I touch type most of the time, so I don't actually notice the fact that they say different things. I actually forgot to show you how to boot to BIOS and change your keys over, like I said I would in the video, but in order to do it, you've got to restart the laptop, wait for it to load, because Windows 11 is very slow sometimes, and then you want to press escape until you can get a boot picker menu thingy. And as you can see, if I press F1, we have a BIOS. In order to switch the keys around, we can go to config and then keyboard and mouse, and then it's just FN and control key swap. What the hell? I opened Notepad and it got detected as a virus. Anyway, disregarding the fact that I might now have a rat on my system, here is your keyboard typing test. It's a nice keyboard, it types perfectly fine, and in my case it's the UK layout. Yeah, it's a solid keyboard, and if you're wondering what I typed, it's that. But yeah, keyboard is honestly a solid quality keyboard. It types really nicely, and I like the fact that you can adjust the backlight and stuff, so when it's dark, it's easy enough to see. If you've not used the ThinkPad before, you may be confused by this. I mean, to be honest, older laptops used to have this all the time, but this one's one of the new ones that actually use it still. If you've not seen these before, it's basically an alternative to your touchpad. You can navigate your mouse around by wiggling this with your finger. I'm not really a fan of it because it just takes some getting used to, and then you use these buttons to click. With the actual touchpad on this laptop, you press the touchpad in. For the track point, you click these buttons, so like this, and it's kind of odd to me. So I don't really use this thing, but you can do it however you prefer, so you can maybe have, I don't know, your right hand like this, like that, or you could do this. It's kind of strange. It's a bit like using a mouse with your thumb, or your finger even. I'm not really a fan, but you know, each to their own. So as for the specific specifications, I'll show you that now. You get a Ryzen 5 Pro 3500U. I believe there may be a Ryzen 7 version as well. I have the 16 gigs RAM model and a 250 gig SSD. This Ryzen 5 is honestly way too overpowered for what I use it for. It can do everything and anything I chuck at it as long as it has good enough battery percent, which is a big thing that I will talk about in a bit. You can see it's relatively fast doing things. I don't know, close Firefox, open it back up. It doesn't feel slow, it feels fine. It's just a good laptop, honestly. I can up YouTube, go straight to it and just no hesitation. It's a decent computer, and at the moment it's in low power mode, or whatever Windows calls it. It's in energy saver mode at the moment because the battery's getting low, but even in energy saver it's really quite snappy. There's one thing to mention though, this does have a quiet mode. I'm not a massive fan of this quiet mode because what it does is try to reduce power usage and just make it quieter in weird ways. So you can see currently the clock speed is about 1.3 gigahertz because it's not doing a whole lot, and I can open up Firefox, go back to Task Manager, you'll see it spikes up to 3 gigahertz, and then when it doesn't need to anymore, it'll shoot back down. And you know, it works as a normal laptop should. The only thing is, if you have quiet mode on, which you can enable with function Q, so in my case Control Q, the keyboard flashes and then you get this little shushy sign thing. Now quiet mode is on. You can see the clock speed is currently at 2.9 gigahertz, but when it starts doing things and gets hotter, the laptop tries to stay quieter instead of staying cooler, which is a really odd sort of concept. So what it does is the fan doesn't run a whole lot and basically just shoots the clock speed down to 0.8 gigahertz or sometimes even 0.4 to stop it from getting loud. I don't like that. I'd rather my computer be a bit noisy than, you know, overheat to the max. But it's up to you which mode you have it set to anyway. The only thing is, when your battery gets low enough, the laptop just does this either way, regardless of what mode you have it set to. It will just go straight to quiet mode and force you to have a really slow laptop. The other day my laptop was on like 5%, even though it was on the charger, it was running at 0.8 gigahertz and YouTube was just chugging and Firefox crashed and it was a pain in the ass to get anything to work. I had to leave it on charge till it got to about 20 and then it was fine again. So it's little things like that. If you don't care about that, then it doesn't really matter to you, but for me that was kind of annoying because I wanted to use my laptop even though it was low and it just made it really flipping slow. That nicely leads me onto the battery section of this video. The battery in this laptop is hit and miss, right? It depends on what you're doing, obviously, like any laptop, but for me, it's okay. It's on 19% and it estimates 24 minutes, probably about right. I'm gonna say I will get 2, maybe 3 hours on a full charge, maybe 4 if you're doing light work, I don't know, Word or whatever, which is alright for a used battery. It's just nothing spectacular. My 11th gen HP laptop, I would get 6 to 8 hours out of, even just watching YouTube like I do on here. I was considering getting a new battery for it. I'm not sure if it's really worth doing, but here you go. Windows 11 gives you this battery graph. Here you can see it was on 96% at 12 o'clock. Didn't really use it a whole lot here. And there you go. So 81% at 4. 4 p.m. it was on 81. Down to 6 p.m. it was on 25. So in the space of 2 hours, just all I was doing was, I don't know, watching YouTube. It sucked up most of the battery. Not brilliant for watching 1080p YouTube. I mean, I get it, this wasn't brand new, it's a couple years old now. This chipset wasn't particularly efficient, I don't believe, but if you want the better battery life, maybe go for an Intel counterpart from a couple years newer, as opposed to going for a 2-year-old Ryzen 5 laptop. If you don't really care about that and you're always on the charger anyway, disregard it, it doesn't matter. But you may want to look into getting a new battery if this concerns you, or it might be worth getting an external power pack that you can plug into a laptop. They do exist these days, and I might have to look into that as well. My battery is particularly dead because every now and then it will shoot down from 30 to 0, which is kind of concerning. I was watching YouTube the other day, it was on 30, and then suddenly it went hibernate, shut down. I was like, what the hell just happened? Plug it in, turn it on, and it was on 0%. So I think my battery might be on the way out. It says 70% health in Lenovo Vantage, so that sort of adds up, but yeah, it's up to you. Battery life is a bit mediocre on this, but other than that, this laptop is fantastic. The performance is very quick, the quality of the laptop, like the build quality, is a nice laptop, man. So overall, this laptop is a very solid choice if you don't want to spend ridiculous amounts of money on a brand new one. And honestly, there's not much point buying a brand new laptop these days. They all kind of suck. They cost a hell of a lot of money, and they're no different to one that's used and costs a fraction of the price. This is the charger that I got for this laptop because it didn't come with one. I highly recommend getting Anker because they're actually really good. Now, this is a 67 watt charger. There's the information if you're curious, but it's an Anker 315 67 watt charger. Charges the laptop up in an hour or two, usually about an hour, and this thing's full if it's not being used. If you get a USB-C cable that supports 60 or more watts, then you'll be fine. In my case, I just use this 3-meter U-green cable. These are really cheap for what they are. I think I paid £5 for this on AliExpress, and it's really long. Combine those two and you've got yourself a solid phone and laptop charger. It's quite nice having the USB-C cross compatibility. So what do I think of this laptop overall? It's a really good option if you don't mind about having slightly poor battery life and you don't want to spend several £100s on something brand new. If you'd rather have a better battery, maybe go for an Intel counterpart with better battery life from the next couple of years, or you could just put a new battery in it or get a battery power pack. You've got options, but yeah, it's a great laptop other than the battery life. The keyboard, the build quality, the screen, the performance, everything else is honestly really nice. If you can get one at a good deal like I did, in such good shape, these are great machines. And I can't comment on the durability aspect of this one, since old ThinkPads used to be known for durability and you could throw it on the floor, it'd be fine. My X250 was very thick in comparison. Hold on, let me show you the thickness difference on this. I don't have the 250 anymore, but you can get a vibe, man. Samsung Galaxy J1, you know, everybody has one of these. It's the same thickness, well, maybe a little bit thinner. But you get the idea, man. This is very similar to this bloody Ryzen 5 powerhouse. The nice thing about these as well, you can just plug a USB-C to HDMI into your monitor and your laptop, and then also use the actual HDMI port and have a triple monitor setup. You could have a quadruple monitor setup if you want, because it's got 2 USB-C sockets. I'm not sure if it'll actually work with 4 monitors, but, you know, don't quote me on that. The Ryzen 5 has very good integrated graphics as well, so you can do very light gaming on it. I was playing Counter-Strike 2 and it was running at 40 or 50 FPS on 720p, I believe. I hope this video helps somebody out. If you have any questions, I'll do my best to answer them. It's quite difficult to answer questions when the video is old, so, for example, I keep getting comments asking things about the BlueStacks video I made years ago. It's been several years since that video was made. It was made in about 5 minutes as me knowing something and wanting to help people, and now I have no idea anything else about BlueStacks, unfortunately. So, you know, if I don't reply to you, it's nothing personal, I literally just don't know. Thank you very much for watching my video. If you want to like and sub, it's completely up to you, and I will see you lot in the next one. Bye for now.